Does brushing really work? Yes, it does. It really works. I think when I did my brushing video, at that time I had already had many clients that I put on the brushing protocol, and since that video I've had many more that I continue to put on the brushing protocol. I can't seem to keep enough brushes for myself and my staff. So I just want to share a story that occurred a few years ago. One of my clients, she is 6 or 7 years old. She was 6 or 7 at the time. Both of her parents worked full time, so it's always a challenge to implement this protocol when both parents are working full time. She was below the 10th percentile when it came to her weight and stature. She was very small for her age. Her issue was she was a preemie, she was intubated, and I find that when kids have a history of being on a ventilator, some of them develop an aversion to eating solid foods. So they were supplementing her diet with Pediatric, but of course they wanted her to eat food. And she would just sit at the dining room table with the family and just let the food sit on her plate. There was nothing wrong with her ability to chew the food and swallow it. She was able to do that safely. And so I said, we're going to put her on the brushing protocol. Her parents, and I always tell my parents, I always look them dead in the eyes, it's really intense the first 7 days because you need to brush your child every 3 hours for 7 consecutive days. You do it when they're awake. You don't wake them up in the middle of the night. And I've had really good success with this schedule. So I would say maybe 6 months later, I was talking with the dad, and he told me that she was now eating meatloaf. She started gaining weight, and what's funny is he said, yeah, well, I think, it was just time for her to start eating. And so I looked at him. I said, so you don't think that the brushing had nothing to do, it didn't have anything to do with her eating? And so he started laughing because I'm like, okay, wait a minute, let's give OT a little bit of credit here. But I understand where he was coming from, because I have so many parents that will say, and they just don't understand the connection. What does brushing her skin and doing the joint compressions, what does that have to do with her eating? But it does. It works. And what I learned from this family, he told me, he said, I have to be honest with you that we haven't been consistent with the brushing. Because he told me when they first started it, he said, I know we were supposed to do it 7 days, 7 consecutive days, every 3 hours, and then after that, I believe I probably told them to just do it as needed or do it 3 times a day. And he said, some days we would miss a whole day. He said we would be good for 2 days, and then we would miss a whole day, and then maybe when we would pick it back up, we would just do it partially. But he said, we really tried. But what that taught me was, I said, well, wow, she still got results even though they did not stick to the protocol. So that let me know, and I've had other parents to tell me this. They would say, I missed a day, or I ended up going 6 hours and I didn't do it, but they still got results. So I still will let my parents know. I still will tell them, look, this is the protocol. I want you to do it for 7 consecutive 7 consecutive days every 3 hours. But I will tell them, I have had parents that just because of the demand of their work schedules and the dynamics of their household, they just weren't able to do it, but they still got results. And there have been some parents that I will tell them, okay, well, look, we're still going to put your child on the brushing protocol. I want you to do it as much as you can. Let's start on the weekend, so therefore they can get 2 good days in. And then, when they start school on Monday, and I know things are different now because of the pandemic that's going on, but this is what I would instruct them to do in the past, is if your teacher or the parapros, if they're just not on board with doing it, or they're not going to follow through, just do it before they go to school and do it as soon as they get home. So I just wanted to share that, and I'll put up some more videos sharing more stories when it comes to the brushing protocol. I am 100% sold on this sensory strategy. It works, it works, it works.